Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes fascinating topics, digs into the research, and pulls out those really potent insights, especially for you. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We're not just looking at a book, we're stepping into, well, a profound experience, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Now, maybe you've heard of it. And if you have, you know this isn't some casual read. You don't just, pick it up and forget it. Oh, no, this book, it doesn't just sit there. It kind of settles deep inside you like a whispered truth you can't shake off. It's raw, it's unfiltered reality, and honestly, it challenges pretty much everything you think you know about strength, resilience, and, well, purpose. So our mission today is to really unpack its core message. Why does it feel more relevant now than ever? What are the biggest takeaways? And crucially, what does it mean for you listening right now? We'll dig into Frankl's unique perspective, the surprising insights he found in unimaginable suffering, and that quiet rebellion in his ideas. Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's start with the author himself, the crucible, as it were, Viktor Frankl.
He was already a respected neurologist and psychiatrist in Vienna, doing important work.
Absolutely. He was part of that vibrant Viennese intellectual scene. But then his life just took this horrifying turn. Imprisonment in Nazi concentration camps, Auschwitz, among others. It's almost impossible to truly grasp.
It really is. And what's so striking as you read the book is he didn't just endure it.
No, not at all. He approached it incredibly with his psychiatrist's mind. He was constantly observing the human spirit, as he put it, in its ugliest and most luminous forms.
Mm-hmm.
And this forced him to ask this really piercing question. When everything is gone, hope, pleasure, freedom, even your name, what actually keeps a person going?
He saw people just give up, didn't he? Psychologically collapse.
Exactly. He saw that the breaking point often wasn't physical but psychological. When people lost a reason to live, any reason, that's when they truly succumbed.
And this was so different from the big psychological ideas of his time, right? You had Freud focused on the pleasure principle.
Right, the drive for pleasure. And then Adler focused on the drive for power or superiority.
But in Auschwitz, neither of those really seemed to fit, did they?
Not at all. That's the key. In the absolute horror of the camps, Frankl saw both those theories as, well, insufficient. Pleasure was non-existent. Power was stripped away entirely. Yet somehow, some people still found a way to maintain their inner self, their dignity. And his revolutionary insight, forged right there, was this. The deepest human drive isn't pleasure, it isn't power, it's meaning.
Wow.
And that became the bedrock of logotherapy. His whole therapeutic approach, it's all grounded in this quest for meaning.
It feels almost paradoxical, finding meaning in that place. It brings to mind that Nietzsche quote, he who has a why to live for.
Can bear almost anyhow.
Yes.
But Frankl didn't just agree with that. He lived it. He saw it proven, tragically, all around him. It wasn't just documenting the horrors. He was asking why. Why did some people maintain their spiritual and emotional core, while others, maybe even physically stronger people, just faded away?
It shifts the focus completely, doesn't it? From external circumstances to internal resolve. Choice.
Exactly. Internal choice. And this isn't just history. Think about how this connects to your life. Frankl was already diagnosing something he called the existential vacuum.
The existential vacuum. What did he mean by that?
He meant that feeling of emptiness, of aimlessness. Even when you have outward success, you have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. He basically foresaw our modern world, didn't he? This hyper-connected but maybe emotionally fragmented place where we have tons of freedom, but maybe less purpose. He saw us chasing happiness while avoiding meaning.
It's chilling, really, seeing our potential future from inside a concentration camp. Okay, so he had these incredibly profound, almost unbearable observations. How did he structure the book to take us from that raw experience to a framework we can actually use?
Yeah, the structure is really smart. He doesn't just theorize. He shows you first. Part one is experiences in a concentration camp. It's like a psychological X-ray of survival. He details these stages prisoners went through. First, that initial shock, being stripped of everything, becoming just a number, total absurdity.
Dehumanization.
Complete dehumanization. Then he describes this phase of apathy, almost an emotional shutdown, just to survive the day-to-day horror, a necessary defense, really. And then, even after liberation, this struggle with depersonalization, feeling detached, finding it hard to reconnect with normal life.
It sounds incredibly bleak. But you mentioned earlier these moments of transcendence. How do those fit in?
That's the core paradox, and what makes the book so powerful. Amidst all that darkness, Frankl saw these small, piercing moments. A prisoner looking genuinely moved by a sunset.
Wow.
Someone finding comfort in remembering a loved one. Feeling free just in that memory, even for a second. He himself found strength thinking about his wife. The key lesson he drew from this, the absolute core, is even in extreme suffering, we retain the freedom to choose our attitude. That's the last freedom.
So even small choices, like sharing bread.
Exactly. Those tiny acts, sharing a crust, a kind word, they became profound acts of defiance, the last stand of dignity against a system designed to crush it.
That idea, that inner freedom, it feels like a lifeline, even hearing about it now. So how did he formalize this? What's in part 2?
Right. Part 2 is logotherapy in a nutshell. This is where he lays out the theory born from that experience. He states it plainly. Life's primary drive isn't pleasure or power, it's the search for meaning. And he emphasizes that suffering, if it's unavoidable, doesn't have to be pointless. It can be transformed into inner strength, but only if you find meaning in it.
How do you find meaning, according to him? What are the sources?
He identified 3 main pathways, which are really practical for all of us. First, work, doing something significant, making a unique contribution, creating something or achieving something. Second, love, caring deeply for someone or something, that connection, that commitment beyond yourself. It could be a person, a cause, humanity. And the third one, this is crucial, courage in suffering. It's the attitude we take towards unavoidable pain, how we choose to face hardship we can't change.
So it's through creating, loving, or how we endure suffering.
Exactly. And he argues that without pursuing meaning through one or more of these paths, our freedom just becomes, well, chaos, emptiness, that existential vacuum again.
And then there's that third part, sometimes included, the case for a tragic optimism.
Yes, that essay really reinforces the idea that you can find optimism not by denying life's tragic aspects, pain, guilt, death, but by embracing them as opportunities to live meaningfully, to make conscious choices. It's a tough kind of optimism, but resilient.
Let's linger on some of those really impactful ideas from the book. You mentioned the space between stimulus and response.
Ah, yes, that's fundamental. He writes, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
That's incredibly empowering. It puts the control back inside you, doesn't it?
Completely. It's the foundation of human dignity, he argues. No matter what happens to you, that space for choice remains. It's where your power lies.
And the idea of love as a beacon. Thinking of his wife.
Yeah, that's such a moving part of the book. He's freezing, starving, being marched through the snow, and he conjures this image of his wife, has imaginary conversations with her. He didn't even know if she was still alive. But he realizes love goes very far beyond the physical person. It's about the spiritual connection. That inner image, that love was enough to sustain him. It shows love's transcendent power.
It really challenges our typical notions of love being tied to presence.
It does. And then there's choosing how to suffer. This isn't about liking pain. It's about how some people, even in the camps, made choices that affirmed their humanity. Like the man giving away his last bread or comforting others. They found meaning not just despite the suffering, but through their response to it, transforming it into a kind of spiritual act. That's the alchemy.
That idea, choosing how to suffer, it feels so profound, but also potentially challenging. For someone facing immense unavoidable pain right now, maybe illness, grief, could that message feel like pressure, like they're failing if they don't find meaning?
That's a really critical point, and it's easy to misunderstand. Frankl is absolutely not saying suffering is good or that you should look for it, and he's definitely not saying you're inadequate if meaning isn't immediately apparent. He's talking specifically about unavoidable suffering. When it's there and you can't change the external reality, then your ultimate freedom lies in how you choose to face it, how you relate to it internally.
So it's not about putting on a brave face.
Not at all. It's about finding a way to carry that heavy burden with some sense of purpose. Maybe that purpose is helping others who suffer similarly. Maybe it's personal growth. Maybe it's simply enduring with dignity, refusing to let the suffering define your entire being. It's finding the why within the how. It's deeply personal. Not a command, more like an invitation to find your own way through it.
That makes sense. It clarifies it. So Frankl wasn't just sharing ideas. He was really challenging a whole way of thinking. This is where it gets really interesting, how his ideas push against modern culture.
Oh, absolutely. He was a major myth buster, taking aim at assumptions we still hold dear today. Think about his first big challenge, the idea that suffering can be meaningful. He flat out says, suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds a meaning. Our culture mostly tells us to avoid pain, numb it, fix it, get over it fast, Frankl says. Maybe go through it. Explore it.
That's so different from the usual self-help message, isn't it? Optimize your happiness.
Right. Frankl implies maybe sit with your sorrow for a bit. See what it reveals. Not wallowing, but mining it for potential growth. Pain isn't just a system error. It might be a signal, a teacher.
Okay, what's another myth he busted?
How about freedom without meaning is dangerous? We celebrate freedom, the ability to choose anything. But Frankl warns that freedom without responsibility, without commitment to something beyond yourself, can just degenerate into mere arbitrariness.
Meaning, freedom can become empty, pointless.
Exactly. He flips a question. Instead of what do I want from life, he asks, what is life asking of me? Freedom finds its shape, its purpose through responsibility. Otherwise, it can be overwhelming, even destructive.
So just pursuing personal freedom for its own sake isn't the goal.
Not for Frankl. It needs direction, purpose, which leads right into maybe his most famous countercultural idea. Meaning is greater than happiness. Always. He said, happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. It's a byproduct. It happens because you're engaged in meaningful activity, not because you aim directly for happiness itself.
That really challenges our whole sort of dopamine economy, doesn't it? The constant chase for the next hit of pleasure or validation.
Totally. Frankl would say, you're not here just to be entertained or feel good. You're here to become. Pursue meaning through work, love, courage, and happiness might just show up as a welcome guest. Don't chase the guest, build the house.
So if I'm feeling unhappy, maybe the question isn't how can I be happier, but
where can I find more meaning? What responsibility can I take on? What can I contribute? How can I face my challenges with courage? Engaging those questions is the path, according to Frankl. Happiness might follow.
Okay, and then there's the existential vacuum. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, that spiritual sickness, he called it. That background hum of emptiness. Even when life is full of stuff, busyness, distractions. He saw it even before our current age of constant digital noise. He saw that activity without purpose leads to hollowness. And his cure wasn't more distraction, it was create, love, find dignity in suffering, serve something bigger than yourself.
He also had a different take on therapy itself, Rick.
Big time. Yeah. He argued, therapy is not just for excavation, it's for meaning-making. While psychoanalysis often digs deep into the past, logotherapy is fundamentally future-oriented. It asks, what are you living for? What meaning are you striving towards? It's action-oriented. It doesn't ignore past wounds, but healing involves finding a purpose to move towards.
And finally, that powerful stance on human dignity in the worst conditions.
Yes. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That statement just demolishes a purely victim mentality without denying the reality of suffering or injustice. It asserts your ultimate agency. You are not just the sum of what happens to you. You are the sum of your choices within what happens to you.
It's incredibly powerful. And, you know, it's striking how this book, born from the ashes of WWII, feels, as you said, even more urgent today. Why is that? The context is so different.
It is, but as the outline suggested, maybe the enemy has changed outfits. Frankl seemed to foresee our specific modern struggles with almost uncanny clarity. Think about it. Numbness in the midst of abundance. We have so much stuff, so much access, you often feel flat, disconnected. Disconnection in the era of hyperconnectivity. We're constantly in touch online, but maybe lack genuine intimacy. Freedom without direction. Endless choices, but paralysis about what truly matters. Hustle with no heart. Chasing success defined by others, not by inner purpose. His warning echoes so loudly now. Ever more people today have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. That hits home, doesn't it? In our world of endless options, sometimes we feel lost.
It really does. So how might Frankl view some specific modern issues, like the whole social media landscape, the crisis of digital disconnection?
Oh, I think he'd have a lot to say. He'd likely see social media as potentially creating an illusion of intimacy without real depth, a place where we chase validation likes, followers, instead of authentic connection or meaning. He might argue that curating a perfect online self could actually deepen that existential vacuum because it distracts from finding meaning in real-world responsibilities and relationships.
What about something huge like the recent pandemic, the isolation, the collective grief?
He would have seen it as a stark reminder of our shared vulnerability. The isolation would highlight our deep need for connection, one source of meaning. The collective suffering, while terrible, could also open portals to shared meaning, prompting us to ask bigger questions about life, death, and what truly matters when routines are stripped away.
And the current focus on mental health, which is positive, but sometimes seems focused on quick fixes.
He'd likely applaud the increased awareness, but caution against the dopamine trap, just seeking feel-good solutions without addressing the underlying need for meaning. He'd argue that true mental health involves confronting life's challenges and finding purpose within them, not just mitigating away discomfort. Therapy needs to summon meaning, not just soothe symptoms. It has to ask, what future is calling to you?
And our intense focus on identity today. Labels, groups.
He might suggest we risk getting caught up in identity overload, focusing on external labels over developing an inner identity rooted in chosen values and responsibilities. He'd remind us, you are more than your story, more than your labels. You are the storyteller, the one who chooses meaning.
Okay, a really current one. AI and automation. People worrying about becoming obsolete.
A perfect Frankl topic. He'd likely address that fear head on. He'd emphasize that while machines can mimic intelligence, they cannot mimic meaning. Meaning comes from uniquely human capacities. Creativity, love, conscious choice, finding purpose in suffering. Those are things AI can't replicate. Our value lies there, not just in our productivity.
That's reassuring, actually. And lastly, the polarization we see, maybe cancel culture versus calls for compassion.
He'd probably observe the tendency towards outrage and condemnation, the loss of dialogue. He'd likely advocate for trying to understand the suffering or lack of meaning that might drive certain behaviors, rather than just condemning the person. Seeking understanding over outrage that's a path towards meaning, even in conflict.
It really puts a different lens on things. Okay, bringing it all together. What does this mean for you, the listener? Frankl's challenge is quite direct, isn't it? What responsibility is life asking you to shoulder?
Exactly. He's not promising easy happiness. He's offering something deeper, a resilient kind of joy, maybe, that comes from living a meaningful life, even amidst hardship. He's saying your pain is real, but your response to it is where your power lies. That's where meaning is forged.
So to make this really practical, what are those core takeaways, the absolute essentials Frankl wants us to internalize?
Okay, let's boil it down. Here are the top 5 key insights, the things to really carry with you. 1, you always have the power to choose your attitude. That space between what happens and how you respond, it's yours. Own it.
Number 1, choose your attitude. Got it.
2, life's meaning is unique and personal. It's not some grand abstract thing. It's what life asks of you, specifically, moment by moment. It changes, it evolves.
Unique and personal. Okay.
3, suffering, if it's unavoidable, can be transformed into meaning. It's not about liking pain, but about how you carry it. That's the alchemy.
Let's transform suffering.
4, meaning is found in responsibility, not just self-indulgence. It's about what you give, what you contribute, how you serve something beyond yourself.
Responsibility, not just self. Makes sense.
And 5, remember those 3 pathways to meaning: through work, doing something significant; through love, caring deeply; and through courage in suffering, facing unavoidable pain with dignity and grace.
Work, love, courage, and suffering. Okay, those are powerful takeaways. If we had to distill the entire book, that whole profound experience, into just one sentence.
I think it would be this. Even in the darkest circumstances, life holds potential meaning, and your greatest freedom is choosing how you respond to whatever life throws at you.
Life holds meaning. You choose your response. Powerful.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with, something to really chew on. What is life asking of you right now in your specific situation? What pain, if any, are you being called to carry with purpose? And what responsibility, if you embrace it, will give your freedom its most meaningful shape?
Those are big questions. This isn't a book you just read and put away. It's meant to be lived, wrestled with. Keep reflecting. Keep seeking that meaning. Maybe truth over comfort. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.